Oh, yeah. But yeah, I'm doing a little glitching with Jones. Globalists want you to have a green tongue. I'm sick of it. When I was younger, I went to church with my grandmother. It was a non-denominational Baptist church. And I went there for many years. When I got into the high school time, I thought myself a pretty Christian. But over the past couple years, my view of the world and religion has greatly shifted. Like big time. I don't really agree with the church in the form that it's in. I don't think it's useful at all. I think that it was, but it just didn't. It didn't really stay proactive enough with the times to be seen to be doing good. It seems like another money trap and, a way for people to be feeling like as if they have some connection to the spiritual side of life without having to do anything about it. They'll do anything about it. They go to church one day, they deal with one another, and then they're out of there and do their cycle again. The same endless cycle, never really advancing, having very limited spiritual experiences. And that's just not the way. When I read The Law of One, it may have been like, I don't know, 2014 when I found it. It changed my whole worldview, the cosmology. Learning about the different densities, the different interactions, trying to be service to other self or service to self. Those were amazing concepts that fit the belief that I had from where I was with the experiences that I'd had. And I've not looked back. And from as far as I can tell, I don't think that that's some sort of plan. I don't think somebody gave those people the material and they're just pretending to record their self channeling it. For the most part, I don't really like channeling. I can understand the usefulness to it, but I think if somebody's going to channel information, they should do it themselves and get that information. It's the same idea. It's like you can get any information that you need from within yourself, whether you divine it, whether you meditate upon something and get revelation, whatever method you use. I think any information that is needed can be drawn out from the self. And I strongly believe that without deviating. The densities I find are very interesting. The concept of going from first to second density along the lines of the chakras. That also makes sense. The fact that we're in 3D Earth, which is yellow, the solar plexus, the ego, and we're trying to transition into fourth density. That is a density of, like, if you had, this is the way I used to tell people. I'd be like, imagine like the Highlander, how the Highlander, when he wins, he has access to everyone's experiences. It'd be like having everyone's memories at your fingertip that you could draw upon. You could know from the smartest person in the world. You could experience their thought process. And I still believe that's the way it is. It's described that way. As if there's no veil between self and other self. And from there, you develop into like a social memory complex or something like that. And I think it's fascinating. And I think it fits. But the world is definitely changing. And the way things were isn't going to work for the world that is. And that's quite clear. Now, there's a lot of weird stuff going on that I don't think is but a sign of some of these attacks upon humanity, like the transgender thing and a lot of stuff with the kids. And some of it is the direct action of the Marxist communists. Whenever they began the Cold War, they said that they would long march through our institutions, and they seem to have done that very well, because there seems to be a lot of communism style shit, and I don't think people remember, not the young people, remember how horrible communism was. For them to be proponents of that, it's just really ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. But I think also that everyone has a certain gift, in the fact that you are the only one of a type of self. You're the only one that there is of you on this world, that there is something that you have to contribute, that whether or not it's in public or in private, that if you bring it out and you activate that part of yourself, whatever it is, whatever that gift is, that it'll bring this world to a more meaningful place and get us along this path of difficult time with a lot more assurance. Because right now we don't know what the future looks like. World War III is practically already going on. We're not formally engaged in it, but our country has become the bad guys. If you don't know that, but that doesn't mean the nation's the bad guys. See, that's where I think some of these youths get it wrong. There's a lot of things that America does that isn't good, and that's in the context of being out there in the world, for other nations and stuff. We don't know that. Our leaders aren't listening to what we want, and they're doing their own thing. So to the greater unity that is in the other world, in the outer world, I think non-Americans should know that most Americans don't approve of half the crap that our government is trying to push and get us to do. Like with the Ukraine war, they tried to put us immediately on Ukraine's side. You know what? I'm not on Ukraine's side. I'm not. I don't agree with them being, and well, you know what? I can't even say I don't agree. Our country has put up biolabs all over that place. Biolabs that are researching to target the ethnicity of the Russians. So if you don't think the Russians have a right to go in there and break that shit up, you're out of your mind. And then I learned that Biden has some property over there that's got some tunnels under it. You know, they're so big into human trafficking, it's just not real. You know, this other side, they love that commodity because, like a lot of people say, it's like drugs. You can sell them once, but with people, you can sell them again and again and again. And I think you can tell by the way they lie, by the way they twist the truth, that they're not good people. You know, we have a few good politicians trying to represent us, but I mean, come on. All you got to do is look. And if you have any sort of gifts, you can tell that this is all fucked up. So it behooves you, if you're still asleep, to wake up from the dream and the malaise. And a lot of times it's just people that have settled into their routines. You know, something's going to happen and it's going to shake you out of that. You're going to lose your job, or, you know, it could be an unfortunate, you know, death of someone close to you. But remember this when you do, that the world is a lot more complex and different than you think it is. And it really needs you to be aware to make it through this period of time that we're going through. Because if you're not aware and you just go through the motions, you're likely to be another 3D repeater when you could graduate and harvest out of this and move up in the chain of evolution along the line of your destiny, because we're all immortal. Our body is not immortal, but our soul is immortal and our spirit is. So we're going to keep having experiences of different worlds and different in-between times of lives. But we may not ever incarnate here again. This may be your one go of it, especially if you're a wanderer. A wanderer is someone that came from the higher densities back down to willfully go through the forgetting process and just change the energy dynamic in the world. And we're seeing that today. We're seeing that energy dynamic change has affected the social structure, but a lot of the young kids that are coming in are hijacked immediately. Weird cult-like thinking. So just try to be aware. Try to be awake to it. The idea that the world may not be the way that you think it is. It may be better.